Good morning again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 1st Special Operations Wing Change of Command Ceremony. Today, the 1st Special Operations Wing pays special tribute to Col Palenske and extend a hearty welcome to Col Michael Conley. The reviewing official for today's ceremony is Lieutenant General Brad Webb, Commander, Air Force Special Operations Command. The formation is led by the Commander of Troops, Colonel Stephen Breeze, Vice Commander, 1st Special Operations Wing. I'm your narrator, Major Adam Miles. Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to have with us today Commander's spouse, Air Force Special Operations Command, Mrs. Donna Webb. From the AFSOC Command Team, Deputy Commander, Air Force Special Operations Command, General Michael Plain and his spouse, Diana. Command Chief, Air Force Special Operations Command, Chief Master Sergeant Greg Smith and his spouse, Tina. We are also honored to be joined by Vice Commander, U.S. Special Operations Command, Lieutenant General Scott Howell. The Principal Deputy Director, Cost Assessment and Program Evaluation, Office of the Secretary of Defense, Lieutenant General Bradley Heitholt. Former Commander, Air Force Special Operations Command, retired Lieutenant General Bruce Pfister. Former Commander, Air Force Special Operations Command, retired Lieutenant General Eric Feil and his spouse, Donna. The Mayor of Fort Walton Beach, the Honorable Dick Reinerson and his spouse, Jane. The Mayor of Defuniak Springs, the Honorable Bob Campbell. From the Florida House of Representatives, the Honorable Mel Ponder. The Chief of Staff, U.S. Special Operations Command, Major General James Slife and his spouse, Gwendolyn. Deputy Commanding General of Joint Special Operations Command, Major General Gregory Lingell and his spouse, Diane. Other general officers, commanders, community leaders, honorary commanders, command chiefs, chiefs, first sergeants, and most importantly, the men and women of Team Hurlburt. Thank you. The wing also extends a special welcome to Col Palenske's spouse, Jaron, and their daughter, Catherine. To Col Conley's spouse, Melissa, and their children, Justin, Abby, and Thomas. Col Conley's mother, Mrs. Donna Conley. Mrs. Conley, Sovereign. Thank you to Col Conley's brothers, aunts, uncles, in-laws, nieces, and nephews. Thank you. And last, to the many friends of the Palenskes and the Conleys, welcome and thank you for joining us all today. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The ceremonies conducted by the Armed Forces are designed to honor distinguished persons or recognize special events. Please direct your attention to today's formation, representing the 1st Special Operations Wing, comprised of 4 groups and 25 squadrons. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of command and remain standing for the presentation of the colors, singing the national anthem by Airman First Class Tiara Eason and the Invocation by 1st Special Operations Wing Chaplain, Chaplain Robert Johnson.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ran
Thank you, Airman First Class Eason. Please remain standing for the invocation.
Let us pray. Eternal God, we thank you for this beautiful Air Commando Day and that powerful rendition of our national anthem. We thank you for the opportunities that lie before us and the challenges of the past that have made us who we are today. We thank you for the safe arrival of Col Conley, their children, Justin, Abby, and Thomas. We pray for their safekeeping and his continued success as our commander. And as Colonel and Mrs. Palenske depart, we remember the fun times and memories shared as Air Commandos, and what an honor to call them friends. Bless them with safe travels as Colonel Palenske. He'll figure it out, but he'll tell another story, and he will definitely make something go boom because it's not his money, and that's awesome. We ask that you protect our air commanders, their families, and we thank you so much for the gracious support that we receive from our community leaders. This we humbly ask in your mighty name. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. And thank you, Chaplain Johnson. As every commander knows, it is the love and special support at home from our family that enables us to leave and go forward to do America's business. On behalf of the entire 1st Special Operations Wing, Staff Sergeant Bailey Shoemake will now present Mrs. Palenske with her certificate of thanks and appreciation for the donation made to the Air Force Enlisted Village in her name in lieu of flowers. Thank you for the support you have shown Hurlburt's Air Commandos. We also welcome Mrs. Conley as our new First Lady. From the 1st Special Operations Wing, Master Sergeant Will Hughes will now present a bouquet of flowers to Mrs. Conley on behalf of the Air Commandos and families of the 1st Special Operations Wing. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commander, Air Force Special Operations Command, Lieutenant General Brad Webb.
Well, good morning, everybody. What a spectacular day here in America. I just had to beat you, Tom. I had to get it in. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being here in the great numbers that you're out here this morning. I'd like to welcome my fellow general officers, distinguished guests, community leaders from all over the many communities here in Northwest Florida. And Clovis, New Mexico is in the house. Most importantly, the Air Commandos, the 1st Special Operations Wing, thank you for coming. Folks, it's a very, very special day here to preside at the 1st Special Operations Change of Command. I've known both of these officers for a very long time. I'm absolutely humbled and honored. The 1st Special Operations Wing is a machine, a lethal warbird. It's the most deployed wing in the Air Force, 4th largest wing in the Air Force. Piloting this lethal warbird for the last 2 years has been Team Palenske. You, Air Commandos, have been true to your motto, anytime, any place, in combat, through 5 areas of responsibility, conducting 11,000 combat missions, flying 48,000 combat hours, removing 2,000 enemies from the battlefield. And certainly, it's been more of the same at home. Tom, you've led some award-winning Air Commandos, 246 MAJCOM award winners, 19th Air Force level award winners, 1 Department of Defense award, and of course the McKay Trophy to Spooky 43, who, as you know, was involved in an incident where they were calling close air support 12 meters from our friendly forces, taking out any number of insurgents and saving 50 operators' lives. And probably most infamously for Tom, Colonel Palenske took the Chief of Staff of the Air Force's guidance more directly to heart than any other wing commander in the United States Air Force. With respect to reinvigoration of the squadrons, the Chief's guidance was, go long, I trust you, I got your back. Just a small sampling of what Tom initiated. He cut out the middleman and went straight to the Chief. I'm just saying. Tom cut unnecessary paperwork on pre-deployments, taking a checklist that was 12 pages down to 3 pages. He reduced training times, allowing squadron commanders to waive upgrade training time requirement if it's appropriate. And probably most importantly, he empowered these air commandos under his wing by pushing command decisions down to the squadron level. Tom, you've exemplified leadership AFSOC style. Fiercely proud leadership. You stand up for your troops, you advocate for your mission, and you shout about it whenever necessary. I would say shout it from the mountaintops, but of course this is Florida. So you shouted it from your Facebook feed. In fact, you've so intimidated the Chief of Staff of the Air Force with your personal likes competition that he's taken personal interest in taking you down. Congratulations on your assignment to the Air Staff. As we know, Col Palenske is headed to be the military assistant to the Undersecretary of the Air Force, a hugely prestigious job. You Air Commandos own his assignment there. Now, personally, with respect to Facebook, I think videos of kitties and puppies is cheating a little bit, but I'm just saying. Whatever. And frankly, I know folks, including Don and I, are going to miss the updates on Jaren's patio furniture as we move into hurricane season. Tom, seriously, as I make fun of some of this, you have commanded in exemplar fashion. Well done to you and Jaren. What a spectacular command tour. So folks, clearly there's big shoes to fill, but we have exactly the right officer. I've known Mike Conley now for over 15 years. This officer has been a moonshot from day one. Graduated from the United States Air Force Academy in 1996, Mike was a lacrosse assistant awaiting pilot training. When he attended pilot training, he was awarded the Military Training Award in undergraduate pilot training. And in his first assignment at Andrews Air Force Base, he was the number 1 of 14 lieutenants. Mike showed up to the 20th SOS in 2002 when I was commanding that squadron and was immediately thrust into combat. In fact, he flew the first 2 combat missions of the war. The first mission actually happened before the war began, as the Pavlo Squadron was tasked with bringing Special Forces troops deep behind enemy lines to be the eyes and ears for the advancing Marines and Army coming out of the South, known as Samoa and Nasiriyah. The next night, Mike and his team was charged with securing the Alpha oil and petroleum production facilities, the security of which was the trigger to begin OIF. Clearly, that was a key strategic target that opened the air campaign and the ground campaign. Mike was highly successful. When he returned from this assignment, he was my number 1 choice for broadening, filling the Wing Vice Commander's Air Ops Officer slot. Clearly, this is a leader that's already been tagged for bigger and better things. His next assignment was the 21st SOS at RAF Mildenhall, where, frankly, he continued in nonstop combat, mostly Iraq, but in other places as well. Mike pioneered innovative tactics, commanding an MH-53 flight as close air support, a first, and protecting American lives in the process. This is the innovative thinking that continues with this officer to the day. Mike led planning and execution with me into Beirut, Lebanon in 2006 personally flying 178 Americans to safety. Clearly, Colonel Conley is combat proven and knows what it takes to execute the mission and take care of his troops. Then Lieutenant Colonel Slife kind of summed it up well in 2006. Next time I go to war, I'll do what I did this year, put Mike in charge. Mike was recognized as AFSOC's #1 pilot this year, and he was my #1 of 32 group majors. Subsequently, he was selected as one of 64 Air Force officers to attend the Air Force Fellow Program at George Mason University. And then he was one of 2 from that group that was selected from that list to be the Air Force intern for strategic comms. We're going to get to hear what our tax dollar has gotten us here in just a few minutes, Mike. No pressure. Back at Hurlburt Field, he was the chief of wing safety, where his ground safety program was #1 in the Air Force. He commanded the OSS at Kirtland Air Force Base, New Mexico, where he was the #1 squadron commander 2 years running under Lieutenant Colonel Becklin. And if you know General Becklin now, that's saying a lot. Mike was a distinguished graduate from the Naval War College. He was the #1 of 17 special assistants to General Dempsey, then chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He followed the next year by being #1 of 9 division chiefs under General Dunford, our current chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He has 3 master's degrees, 369 combat hours. You get the picture? Finally, Mike is coming to us directly from Vice Wing Command at the 27th Special Operations Wing in New Mexico, where he helped lead a combat wing in the most powerful Air Force in history. Deploying special air power to 6 areas of responsibility, 59,000 combat hours, 1,900 enemies killed in action, all while caring for his families a cannon. I just recently saw on Facebook, Mike was awarded the keys to the city of Clovis, New Mexico. Folks, Air Commandos, we have a winner right here. Now it's almost time to pass the guidon. This is an exceptional event. This is an exceptional position, and this is an exceptional organization. Mike, you follow in the footsteps of legendary 1st SOW and 1st SOW lineage commanders. Cochran, Allison, Adderholt, Holland, Schwartz, Comer, Brosnick, Plain, Lingell, who's retiring today, Slife, who's presiding at that ceremony. But even more legendary than those names are these Air Commandos in the flights and the squadrons and the groups of the 1st Special Operations Wing. 1st SOW Special Operations Air Commandos, I want to be clear about your strategic value. As a maintainer, a loadmaster, a med tech, a culinary specialist, you might think that your job does not have strategic impact. You would be wrong. In our business, tactical actions do have strategic effects. All of you do your own part to enable special operations to present enemies to the enemy, to buy time for conventional forces, to go more austere, to hide in plain sight. This is the strategic value of specialized air power provided by the Air Commandos and of the 1st Special Operations Wing machine. Since 2001, in the low-end fight, you've taken the terrorist threat head-on, but the world has changed. Tom, you've made this combat wing ready for high-end operations in the age of great power competition. Mike, no doubt you'll raise the bar even higher for this perpetual motion machine. There is a way. You and your Air Commandos will find it. The legendary excellence of the 1st SOW machine, this warbird, will continue without missing a beat, because at its heart and soul is you, the Air Commando, and because you are led by such capable leaders as these 2 officers sharing the stage with me. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for attending this important transfer of command. Thank you for your patriotism, and thank you for your steadfast support for these warriors. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of the Legion of Merit. Attention to orders. Citation to accompany the award of the Legion of Merit to Colonel Thomas B. Palenske. Colonel Thomas B. Palenske distinguished himself by exceptionally meritorious conduct in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Commander, 1st Special Operations Wing, Hurlburt Field, Florida, from 10 June 2016 to 22 June 2018. During this period, his unmatched leadership, sage foresight, and ceaseless efforts resulted in monumental impacts for Hurlburt Field and Air Force Special Operations. As the commander of the most deployed wing in the Air Force, Colonel Palenske employed over 5,500 air commandos and 77 aircraft from 11 major weapon systems to execute 92,750 combat flight hours in 5 geographic combatant commands in order to find, fix, and finish terrorists around the globe. Colonel Palenske led the processing, exploitation, and dissemination of 74,000 hours of full-motion video, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance collecting for over 5,000 missions to safeguard troops, supply targeting and pattern-of-life analysis to multiple Joint Special Operations Task Forces, eliminating 2,124 terrorist fighters from the battlefield. Additionally, as installation commander, Colonel Palenske's leadership was instrumental to modernizing and improving Hurlburt Field's infrastructure. His efforts promoted efficiencies and improved the standard of living for the 16,800 active duty members assigned to Hurlburt Field, their families, and the thousands of retirees who enjoy the base's facilities every day. These efforts drove the wing to earn 5 Air Force and 150 Major Command level awards. Furthermore, Colonel Palenske spearheaded innovations such as the Air Commando Development Program, which established the deliberate tactical and leadership development of air commandos through a demanding 4-phase special operations curriculum. This program fused the training needs of 25 Squadron into a comprehensive wing plan that shaped the execution of over 350 Joint Special Operations training missions, 15 wing-level exercises, and 8 contingency planning events. Finally, Colonel Palenske's team modernized several weapon systems, including the CV-22 full-motion video and helmet-mounted display, missile defense systems for MC and AC-130s, and fielding the command's new AC-130J gunship. These improvements drastically increased effectiveness and survivability throughout the command. The superior initiative, outstanding leadership, and personal endeavor displayed by Colonel Palenske reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commander, 1st Special Operations Wing, Colonel Tom Palenske.
General Webb, hey sir, thank you for the kind words and the privilege of serving alongside the greatest airman on the planet. Without your support, and equally important, sir, your top cover, there's no way we could have been as effective at getting after Secretary Wilson, General Goldfeins, and your priorities. Without you, none of this would have happened, sir, so I really appreciate it. To our distinguished civilian and military leaders, thanks so much for sharing this day with the men and women of the 1st Special Operations Wing. It's really, really great to have you here. Jaron, Catherine, and also Christian and Caitlin, who can't be here today. Thank you for being the Air Force family that a guy like me can only pray to have. Truly a blessing. Jaron, thanks for everything you do to care for the airmen and their families in your own special way. It's really, really been a great run with you two. Really appreciate it. Can't express how much I love you both. Melissa and Mike, you guys are getting ready to embark on a great Air Force adventure, and I could not be more excited for your family and your opportunity to lead the greatest wing on the planet. I would have paused before saying all policies and orders remain in effect. We've been taking some liberal action with some of those for the last 2 years. And also the password for your Facebook, it's underneath the keyboard on your desk. Finally, to the men and women of America's most lethal wing, serving alongside you these past 3.5 years have been the greatest privilege and pleasure in both Jaron and my lives. To recount your extraordinary accomplishments over those time, would be impossible, so I'm not going to try. I want you to know that you've taught and mentored me more than I could ever repay you. You are the 1% of Americans that volunteered to protect the other 99. On behalf of a grateful nation, I would like to thank you for your service, for your excellence, and for your lethality. We love you guys. There's nothing we wouldn't do for you. May God bless the extraordinary men and women of the 1st Special Operations Wing, and may God bless America.
Microphone. The men and women of the 1st Special Operations Wing will now honor Colonel Palenske with the traditional farewell salute. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The change of command has been an important ceremony from the earliest days of our military, signifying the formal change of leadership in an organization. The passing of the flag from the outgoing commander to the incoming commander is accomplished in front of the entire unit, so all can witness their leader assuming command. He who controls the flag also controls the soldiers and their allegiance. On July 3rd, 1775, an elaborate ceremony was staged with 21 drummers and 21 fifers as General Artemus Ward surrendered command of the Massachusetts militia to General George Washington. 8 years later, General Washington said farewell to his officers. With a heart full of love and gratitude, I now take leave of you. I wish that your later days may be as prosperous and happy as your former ones have been, both glorious and honorable. Today's ceremony, drawing on the tradition of George Washington, pays tribute to the glorious and the honorable, the achievements of the men and women of the 1st Special Operations Wing as they change command from Colonel Palenske to Colonel Conley. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the official change of command. Attention to orders. Headquarters, Air Force Special Operations Command, Special Order Number Golf Sierra 18-012. Colonel Michael E. Conley assumes command of the 1st Special Operations Wing from Colonel Thomas B. Palenske, effective 22 June 2018. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The men and women of the 1st Special Operations Wing will now render their first salute to Colonel Conley. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commander, 1st Special Operations Wing, Colonel Mike Conley.
That one's not mine. No, sir. I can stuff it up. Hey, good morning. Wow, this is awesome. It's great to be back to Hurlburt. Let me first start by thanking all the folks that helped make this event happen. Stuff like this is definitely not easy to plan or execute, and the 1st SOW team has hit it out of the park. So thank you for an awesome job welcoming the Conleys back to Hurlburt Field. Also, a special thanks to Airman First Class Eason and Chaplain Johnson for the outstanding rendition of our national anthem in the inspiring words. General Webb, thank you for the very kind words that didn't sound like me you were talking about. And more importantly, for the trust and giving me the privilege to serve for such an outstanding group of Americans. Thank you to all the distinguished military and civilian guests in the formation today for making time out of your busy lives to be part of this special day. As I look across the hangar, it is without a doubt a who's who of AFSOC legends that are sitting out here in the audience. I'd like to add a special thanks to Major General and Mrs. Lingell for allowing the first SOW to share in your special day as well. I know you're a strong part of this wing's heritage, and you also significantly bulked up the star power of the audience today, so thank you. Melissa, Justin, Abby, Thomas, thanks for sticking around for one more adventure. I love you all, and I couldn't and wouldn't want to do any of this without you. Mom, Linda, thanks for traveling to Florida for this. I know this lifestyle keeps you away from your grandkids much more than you'd prefer, but every time we need you, you're there for us, so thanks for making the visit. I'd also like to thank my brothers, all my family that made it, and some longtime friends and colleagues that were able to attend today. Tom and Jaron, thank you so much for the warm welcome here at Hurlburt, and you've provided us an outstanding example of how to succeed at Wing Command. I wish you and your family nothing but the best. Melissa and I have extremely tough shoes to fill, and we know that. To the leadership teams of the 1st Special Operations Wing, nothing changes with this ceremony today. You remain empowered to get after your missions in the way that makes you the most ready, relevant, and lethal units on the planet. Like Col Palenske, I've got your back. Finally, and most importantly, to the Air Commandos of the 1st Special Operations Wing, I stand before you today honored and humbled, but I'm also prepared and ready to get to work. Melissa and I look forward to serving for and with you, any place, anytime. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the departure of the official party and the playing of the Air Force song. This concludes today's ceremony. Please join us for a reception at the Soundside to welcome Col Conley and his family.